Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my Quebec City podcast in the edition of Mental Toughness. This video is especially made for men, so let's start. So, Damon, tell me a bit about your experience on mental toughness.
I've had an easy ride so far in my life, honestly. But you talked about the importance of dealing with trauma.
Yeah.
Can you explain why it's important for people to deal with things?
Yeah, so dealing with trauma is pretty simple. The strongest people on earth will be the people that have dealt with trauma. But there's positive trauma and there's bad trauma. When I'm talking about positive trauma, it's going through maybe a tougher childhood, being in lower than middle class as for finances. So, starting a bit more in poverty side and maybe not having a car, walking more, doing the dishes, going through stuff that are not for sport kids, let's say just that way. So yeah.
Did you ever deal with trauma in your life, or
The best trauma that I've dealt with that have really helped me is going through suffering when training. So I used to be a swimmer, swimming competitively in a team with the Université Laval. So I used to swim 6 times to 7 times per week, and training was pretty tough. And what about you? Did you do any sports?
I play only deck hockey. We also talked about stress. It's important to deal with it and cope with it. What do you do to cope with stress in your life?
So for me, what I do to cope with stress is simple. I do meditation, and also another good way to cope with stress is going out in nature. So what I like to do is I like to watch oftentimes the sunset, and it just makes me realize that the sun will still rise and still go down each day, even though you go through hard stuff or things that you think is hard. And what do you do to cope with stress? What are your relationship with stress?
What I do with stress? That's a good question. I usually take 5 minutes to calm myself down when I'm stressed. I think it's important to self-reflect on things. Taking a break, just simply looking outside the window, knowing that life is ahead of you and that the future is bright. Just thinking positively is important, especially when you're stressed about something.
Yeah, of course. One thing, my mom 3 years ago passed a seminar. The seminar was about happiness.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, I was not surprised to find out that the most happy people on earth are the people that live the simplest. Like, so for example, you go to like Brazil, and there is tribes that are still living up in nature. They had the highest happiness score, so it's pretty crazy.
Yeah,
we have too many things. So
yeah, living a simple life.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you have to do. Some people try to push too hard, maybe, and it causes stress. But it's important to push in life, and I think I have to personally push harder. And I don't know for you, but I think dealing with stress is important. And some people think that stress is like it happens to you, or other people don't deal with stress. But we all deal with stress. It's just the way that we deal with it that's different.
yep, 100%. And a lot of people think that relationship with stress, it's like you said, is bad, but actually it's what builds your character. So it's important to go through harder times. And while we checked the studies, 80% of the suicide almost come from men. So it's a big percentage, and it's important men to become tougher, because in the past years we have promoted a lot about depression and stuff like that, but we need to stop thinking about our problems and just get to acting. So a good way is to get your life in order and start implementing good things in life, such as training. Training is very important for your mental health and also developing your physical abilities. And yep. So I know you trained some younger kids doing deck hockey. And how do they deal with stress? Competition. Like, what's their...
Oh, there's no stress. They have a coach that tells them to not stress. There's ways of dealing with it that are better. Like we talked about cold showers. It's just simple things like that can help you moving forward. But you brought out suicide, and I went on January 3rd. I think it was January 3rd. I went on the internet, and there was already 280,000 people that had committed suicide. And I went and saw the number rising. Every second there was one person. that committed suicide.
That's
And
crazy.
you look at that in the world, and it's unbelievably shocking, and it's truly sad. And that's why we're here today. I mean, just convincing people to continue in life, and that mental toughness is the most important thing. You have to be mentally strong. Forget about the physical. Like going to the gym, it helps, but you gotta take care of yourself mentally.
Yeah, 100%. And a good thing is to explore the world, make links with other people in other countries, get abroad, go in other countries that you will never thought would be okay to go. Even though countries will be more dangerous, you're going to go through, see more things, you're going to experience the world, conquer the world. That's the meaning of life for most people. That's what we should be doing, We go back 500 years ago and we were conquering Earth, walking down, fighting armies and stuff to conquer new countries. We still have that in us, so we just need to get back to our roots. I'm not saying that going and do wars is good. I'm just saying that conquer the world and explore new things, it's a very good thing to do.
Yeah, and society's not doing great right now. I mean, we all know there's a lot of problems everywhere, economically, I mean, socially. There's a lot of conflict, and that's why mental toughness right now is the most important thing for everyone. And a lot of people are becoming crazy and are committing suicide, unfortunately.
And even though, we're in Canada, there is suicide rate is extremely high. People go and see the doctor, I want antidepressants. It's a good way to hide the problem. Like most people do, they smoke weed just to hide their anxiety and stuff like that. But actually, deep down, it does nothing else than just making it worse.
It hides the problem. It just hides the problem.
Yeah, it makes it worse because the more time you let the problem take over you, the worse it's going to be in 1 to 3 years time. So it's very important for people to get to action. And, just realizing that when you're going through things that you think is tough, just think about the people in Ukraine that are getting bombed right now. And still at the same day after, they're going to go and sell stuff on the streets in the market. Just think about them and realize that it is kind of a shame for your ancestors and for the people in Ukraine for you to be sitting and complaining about your problems, because your problems are not real problems for most people on earth.
Yeah, and like you said, probably the Ukrainians are probably way tougher than us right now. I mean, they have to. I mean, you have to be mentally strong, or else it takes over. It takes over everything. It's just like a shock. You're not focused. You're not engaged. You're not strong mentally. The world will step over you, and that's why we're here. I mean, I'll say it again. It's important. You guys have to help people that are not mentally strong or that are dealing with difficulties. Suicide can't rise like that. I mean, it's terrible. It's terrible.
Yep, exactly. And, it's important just to reflect on your problems and seeing the solutions, because most people that, have committed suicide, I know people that, I have myself, I'm not ashamed to say, one time I had suicidal thoughts, but it was not, when I think about it, I often think it as a joke because I see the problems that I was facing and I was thinking about that kind of stuff, and I just couldn't imagine myself going back into that situation because I really changed. So it's really important to, change your mindset, seeing the problems, what's the solution, because there's often times, and it's not often times, there is every single time a solution to your problem.
Hey, good job for staying alive, man. That's good. Good.
Don't worry, man, I'm here for a long time.
Yeah, we're all here.
Yeah.
You guys have to be here too.
Yep.
We need you. I mean, we need everyone right now.
Stay strong. Strong man, it's really important, and we need that back in the society. Get strong. It's important.
We're done here. Now it's you guys' turn to shine on the world.
Yep.
And,
get to action.
Always say to yourself, you can change your life. If you're thinking of suicide right now, if you're listening to our podcast right now and you're facing difficult times, don't worry about it. We're here. And stay tuned to our next podcast.
Yep. Stay tuned, and guys, become strong now.
Let's go.
Let's go.